frequently hunched over with wrinkled faces and balding heads. Once inside the store, they spray employees with pepper spray and hold them at gunpoint. They eventually make a clean getaway and are still on the run tonight.
Now here are David and Cindy with a look at 6 o'clock, guys.
It's been 1 year since a tornado destroyed parts of East Tennessee. We'll check back with one family whose lives were changed by more than just the tornado.
We're getting families that are very young children that have been diagnosed very, toddler years, very early, and they are just scrambling to know exactly what they can start doing with their child right away.
Siskin's Lending Library is helping families get a head start teaching their children.
With coverage you can count on, this is Channel 3 Eyewitness News at 6.
It's been 1 year since an EF2 tornado tore through McMinn County, changing many lives forever. Some families have been able to rebuild their homes and lives. Others have had a more difficult time. Thanks for joining us. I'm Cindy Sexton.
And I'm David Carroll. Channel 3 meteorologist Nick Austin joins us live in the studio with one family's story. Nick?
Well, David, Cindy, the Newmans have been living on County Road 307 for 41 years. The tornado tore apart their home. They're determined not to let it tear apart their spirit. 69-year-old Ralph Newman cuts trees as a hobby, but for the past year it's felt more like a chore. These trees were knocked down by a tornado which also damaged his home. He and his wife Carolyn were sleeping when the storm hit in the middle of the night.
Climbed out of bed and went outside.
We had to dig out because the roof and everything kind of fell in on us. Brick, insulation, wood.
Other family members were there, including their granddaughter Natalie, who was 14 years old at the time. She was badly hurt but survived.
Her dad had to dig her out from the rubble. So he and I, we carried her down and put her in my car and he took her to the hospital.
She was knocked out.
It's been very emotional, especially for Ralph. While neighbors have rebuilt their homes, his remains broken. He continues hauling away the rubble. He's only been able to clear about half the trees that fell in his yard. He wants to do all the work himself. The long process has made it difficult for him to forget what happened. Carolyn has been his rock.
I just have good days and bad days.
I know he's just depressed. It's depressing to put your life work into something like your home and to just lose it in a matter of seconds.
They lost things which can be replaced, but they're grateful they still have their family, which includes 3 children, 9 grandchildren, and a great-granddaughter.
The true things that we still have are what's important.
Ironically, cleaning up what's left is all that stands between Ralph and the ability to move on.
If I get my house back, it probably will. Get all these trees up out of this yard, because I like my place to look good.
The Newmans had been living in a friend's rental home just down the street. The basement walls of the Newmans' house weren't damaged badly and remain standing. They say construction on their new home should start next month. Live in the studio, I'm meteorologist Nick Austin, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
Thank you, Nick. Polk County continues to rebuild after an EF3 tornado ripped through the area. Residents say they only had minutes to take cover before high winds tore through Ocoee. Officials estimate between 40 and 50 structures were heavily damaged or destroyed along a 2.5-mile stretch along Highway 411, causing at least $1 million in damage to the community. Residents say they'll never forget.
When it was gone, we tried to come out the door here, and we couldn't get out the door, but the first thing we heard was a lady screaming. Oh my goodness, it was just awful. It bothered my wife for 2 weeks.
The Ocoee post office and fire station were destroyed. Over the last year, work has been done to repair those structures, and there are plans to open both back soon.
In Grundy County, a text message is what caused the school system to go on lockdown earlier this week. Police charged school board member Casey Anderson with making a false report to police.
And tonight we now know more about who those messages were sent to and exactly what was said. Here's Kate Smith live in the studio with more.
David, Casey Anderson told police she wasn't sending her son to school because she had concerns about a gun being on campus. Tonight we learned that fear came from what Anderson describes as a nightmare. A text message to her son's grandparents is what prompted a county-wide school lockdown. School board member Casey Anderson told police the text message was about a nightmare she had after talking about recent school shootings with family. She added that her husband's missing handgun fueled her fear. She says while sleeping, she sent a text to her son's grandfather saying she planned to keep her son home from school, fearing a gun might be on campus. The grandfather then alerted the principal, who contacted another principal before reaching out to Director of Schools Jesse Kinsey. Kinsey prompted a soft lockdown. After her arrest for false reports, Anderson took to Facebook writing, "I did not call and report anything about a kid and a gun to anyone." She said she called a family member to clear up her text. A text that, according to police reports, Anderson says she sent when she, quote, wasn't sure she was totally awake. This is the second arrest for Anderson in recent years. In June 2016, she was arrested for public intoxication, disorderly conduct, and indecent exposure. She goes to court on December 5th for those charges. We reached out to Anderson for a comment. She tells us she is considering resigning from her position on the school board, but as of now, she is still a member of the board. For now, I'm live in the studio. Kate Smith, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
Thank you, Kate. We're learning more about the man who was hit while walking across Lee Highway last night. Channel 3 spoke to his pastor, who tells us he's in critical condition. He has several injuries, including broken bones, facial fractures, and internal bleeding. Tonight, he's in a medically induced coma. Chattanooga police have not identified the man. They're waiting to contact his family before releasing his name. Overnight, 2 tractor trailers collided in Cohutta, Georgia, leaving 1 person dead. Jacob Kofelt of Pikeville was flown to Vanderbilt's burn unit in Nashville. Officials there say he died this afternoon from his injuries. The accident happened at the intersection of Cleveland Highway and Wolf Street. The report from the Georgia State Patrol states that Kofelt crossed the center lane, sideswiping a second semi before coming to a stop. The first truck then burst into flames. Kofelt told troopers he'd fallen asleep. At least 7 agencies responded, and the Georgia State Patrol is leading the investigation.
We're learning a Chattanooga State police officer working an extra job fired his weapon in the direction of a shooting suspect. It happened on Highway 58 last weekend. The preliminary investigation has determined the officer is Sergeant Iron Meadows. Right now, police are trying to figure out if the officer shot the suspect or if another person driving by at the time shot the suspect.
And there's more to come on Eyewitness News at 6.
If ever there was a moment in history where they need to be totally transparent, open everything up, not have any kind of fund to protect themselves, it's this moment.
Several members of Congress hope to get rid of a fund used to keep sexual assault victims quiet. The fund is paid for by tax dollars.
Well, it's not a pretty night tonight, but tomorrow the sun should come back at least into the afternoon. I've got all the details right into the weekend on my 7-day forecast.
with coverage you can count on. This is Channel 3 Eyewitness News at 6.
Former Today Show anchor Matt Lauer says he is embarrassed and ashamed after being fired amid accusations of inappropriate sexual behavior.
A longtime NBC News personality issued a written statement this morning apologizing to those he has hurt. Savannah Guthrie read the full statement this morning on the Today Show. Here's a portion of it.
There are no words to express my sorrow and regret for the pain I have caused others by words and actions. To the people I have hurt, I am truly sorry. As I am writing this, I realize the depth of the damage and disappointment I have left behind at home and at NBC. Some of what is being said about me is untrue or mischaracterized, but there is enough truth in these stories to make me feel embarrassed and ashamed. I regret that my shame is now shared by the people I cherish dearly. Repairing the damage will take a lot of time and soul searching, and I'm committed to beginning that effort. It is now my full-time job.
Now, at least 2 more women have gone to NBC to complain about Matt Lauer since he was fired.
A sexual harassment hush fund paid for by taxpayers could soon be eliminated. 2 U.S. representatives from Tennessee, Marsha Blackburn and Jim Cooper, are sponsors of the bill. They say the fund was used to help members of Congress settle claims and silence victims of sexual harassment. The passage of the Congressional Accountability Act of 1995 led to taxpayers footing the bill for decades. Former Congressman Zach Wamp says that was not the intent of the legislation.
I served 16 years and I never heard anything about this from anybody. I didn't hear it from other members. I didn't know that that it existed. I'd be interested in how it even came about.
The bill from '95 put Congress on the same level as other American companies when it came to employment and workplace safety laws. The new proposal would make members of Congress who used the hush fund reimburse the money with interest. We'll have more details inside the WRCB mobile app.
Jim Nabors, who played Gomer Pyle on TV in the 1960s, has passed away at his home in Hawaii. His health had been declining for the past year. He became an overnight success on The Andy Griffith Show from 1962 to 1964. He was only on 23 episodes, but he made a big impact. He later started his own shows. Before he moved to Hollywood, the Sylacauga, Alabama native worked at Channel 3 here in Chattanooga at our original studio on Macaulay Avenue. He was a film cutter, or what we'd call today a film editor.
I used to clip together all the commercials for the, insert the commercials into the films. And then I also edited the news and so forth. It was a great time. I had a good time doing it. I didn't know what I was doing, but it was a lot of fun.
That's from an interview we conducted with Jim Nabors back in 1996, our 40th anniversary, and he still remembered many of his co-workers. In the early days of live local TV, the station put him in front of the camera occasionally to showcase his rich baritone singing voice. In addition to the Gomer Pyle success, he had a CBS variety show and a very successful recording career, performing concerts around the world. And he always credited Channel 3 in Chattanooga for starting his career, so we're proud to have played a small part in his success. Jim Nabors was 87. And during that interview, Cindy, he remembered the late Charlie Millirons. He remembered a couple of folks who are still with us and watching this evening, Barbara Malloy and Wayne Abercrombie, who were here at Channel 3 during his time. So he has great memories of the station.
Would have been fun to work alongside him,
Oh,
I'm sure.
Those were the days. Good old local live TV in the 50s.
Coming up on Eyewitness News at 6.
It's able for that child to participate within that routine and to communicate what he wants or what she wants.
Technology at Siskin's Lending Library is helping young children with disabilities communicate at home.
And this afternoon we had rain in parts of the Tennessee Valley. Not a lot, just enough to make the roads a little slippery. We'll check back with Chief Meteorologist Paul Barris to let you know what's in store for the weekend in a moment. Siskin Children's Institute is opening one of its resources to everybody, and it's free.
The Lending Library offers thousands of items to parents who have kids with learning disabilities. Channel 3's Michelle Herron stopped by today to see what they offer.
These items are opening doors for children living with disabilities like never before.
They can touch the picture and that picture will talk for them.
Through assistive technology devices like this one called GoTalk, children are able to communicate. Others help with daily activities.
At home, you can hook it up to a blender and they can help cook. You can hook it up to a lamp. So in a bedroom, you know, the mom can say, turn your lamp on, and then the child can turn, just by pushing this, the lamp will come on.
Julie Michael, director of the Early Learning Center at Siskin Children's Institute, says devices like these can be life-changing. And now, through the help of Unum, anyone can check out these devices for free.
Banana.
They're part of the 6,000 books, DVDs, periodicals, even videos at the Lending Library. This space is designed to help parents learn more about early childhood development and disabilities.
We're getting families that are very young children that have been diagnosed very, toddler years, very early, and they are just scrambling to know exactly what they can start doing with their child right away.
Karen Coleman has been building the information arsenal here for the last 15 years. She's able to help steer parents toward the information they're looking for, which can sometimes get confusing.
And we also have parents recommend things, that have helped them. So when they've checked something out, they can say, this was a great book on this, and so I can recommend it to other parents.
That was Michelle Herron reporting. The Lending Library is open weekdays. To find more information, including hours, click on our story inside the mobile app. Now it's time to check in with Chief Meteorologist Paul Barris.
Let's see what he has in store for us on this last day of November. Hello, Paul.
That's right. Tomorrow's the start of meteorological winter time. And coming up next week, it's going to be about a week late, but winter's going to finally get here, probably starting next Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. That cold air is going to be diving on down straight off from Canada, and it's going to create a lot of snow up to the north of us. Matter of fact, the whole weather pattern is setting up that this could be a very interesting couple of weeks, especially starting after next week. So stay tuned on that one. All right, as far as we go in the next few days, it's still going to remain fairly mild. We got a little system moving from the west to the east. Going to see some breaks in the clouds for tomorrow, but another wave of cloudiness is going to be moving our way coming up. It looks like probably over the next few days, but every now and then the sun's going to peek out too. The heaviest rain is off to the north and east of us. We're out near Philadelphia, Dover, Delaware. They had a earthquake, 4.1 earthquake today. It's about the third or fourth one they've had since 1950 out in that area. So it's pretty rare to have something like that happen. 58 in the city right now, 59 Cleveland, 60 in Dalton, 57 Altamont, winds are calm, 55 in Murphy. High was 63, 40, 60 overnight low. So it was really, really warm again. Normal highs around 56, 57 degrees. 61 Dalton, 64 Varnell, 66 Chatsworth, and a couple tenths of an inch of rain fell from Scottsboro all the way to Fort Payne. About a tenth of an inch in Red Bank, 2/10 Lakeside and Soddy Daisy. That's the most I could find. Cleveland, Ottawa had about a tenth, as did North Chattanooga right here at Channel 3. And then we had about a tenth in Riceville, Dayton, Pikeville, Dunlap, all the way to Colmont, and Delano, 65 out near Murphy, and about 59 all the way up to Athens. Tomorrow, we're going to start off the clouds in the morning, and then some breaks in the cloud cover, high pressure off to the north of us, and the real cold air is still up into Canada at this time. Saturday in the morning, we'll have some clouds, and then some breaks in the clouds into the afternoon. Overnight, Saturday night and into Sunday, we'll see some more clouds, and then some breaks in the clouds into Sunday afternoon, Sunday night. And now coming up into Monday morning, another wave of cloudiness, but the winds will be coming out of the south, and that should keep the temperatures up. It wouldn't be impossible to get near 70 once again coming up on Monday. But tonight, 49 with clouds and fog, any sprinkles ending. Tomorrow, 65, partly cloudy and a northerly wind. Tomorrow night, 46, partly cloudy, and the 7-day forecast looks dry right through Monday, with temperatures still in the 60s, lows in the upper 40s to near 50. That's really, really nice. I mean, and just enjoy it, folks, because it's not going to last. You're going to say, oh, I wish it would get like that again. Because Tuesday it's going to be wet, and especially late in the day, Tuesday night. Wednesday will be wet. and 50, much colder. Thursday, 44, and show you Christmas Friday will probably be only near 40 or so with strong winds.
All right, this
We'll
feels like our last weekend, our last chance.
That
Paul.
could be it.
Thank you. Next in sports, find out Tennessee's latest coaching target.
Plus a Tyner state title preview, 20 years in the making.
Tennessee Athletic Director John Currie is so far down his wish list, rumor has it he's using tape to add more paper. I said rumor. The good news, the bottom of Currie's list is getting higher approval ratings than the top. The latest name is a very familiar name. Tennessee is now focused on Kevin Sumlin, but the day did not start that way. The Vols had a reported offer on the table for NC State's Dave Doran. NC State countered with a significant raise and extension. Doran then turned down Tennessee. It didn't take long for the Vols to move on to Kevin Sumlin, who was recently fired by Texas A&M after 6 seasons. Sumlin went 51-26 with the Aggies, 25-23 in SEC play. He also was named SEC Coach of the Year in 2012. Hey, we're less than 24 hours away from Tyner Academy's state title matchup, their first in 20 years. Sports reporter Jill Jelnick has been with Tyner every step of the way. She will be there tomorrow and joins us live now in the studio with more on the Rams.
Paul, since before the season even started, the Tyner Rams believed that this team had something special and made it their goal to make it to the state championship game. Now, after a 12-game winning streak, the Rams have made their goal a reality and will have a chance at history tomorrow, just like 20 years ago.
Friday, December 5th, 1997. That was the day the Tyner Rams made history, becoming the first public school to bring a state championship to Hamilton County. Fast forward 2 decades, The Rams are back in the state title game, and they're playing the same exact team as 20 years ago.
Well, it's pretty strange. I'd say if I was a betting man in Vegas, I could probably win a lot of money on the odds of that happening.
We've been looking at on the brackets all through the playoffs. We might end up playing Union City. We might end up playing Union City. And now we at that point now that we meet them again 20 years ago. You couldn't handpick that.
Tyner alum and current assistant coach Jackie Buttram was on the staff in '97 as well.
That was a great feeling. You know, never had that feeling before at that time. You just couldn't explain how special that was.
Coach Buttram can see a lot of similarities between the '97 team and this year's team. They're both stacked with talent, but the 2017 Rams like to have a little more fun.
These are funny young boys right here. They're fun. It's a little bit different. Them 2017, they was a little bit more serious. But these kids are serious when they get ready to kick off. But they have fun prior to.
It's a dream come true, basically, because we just been dreaming about this, talking about it since the beginning of the season. And everybody will remember us for this, because it's been 20 years since we won the state.
Kickoff is set for 12 p.m. Eastern versus Union City. I will be there driving up to Cookeville bright and early tomorrow morning, so be sure to follow me and Channel 3 Sports for the latest. Live in studio, Jill Jelinek, Channel 3 Eyewitness Sports.
Thanks, Jill. We'll also be there on Saturday for Notre Dame's title shot. More on the Irish online now. Speaking of Saturday, Georgia's preparing for its first SEC title shot since 2012. They'll do so against an Auburn team that blew them out just a few weeks ago. That game was in Auburn, which is known for a raucous atmosphere. Head coach Kirby Smart expects the same inside the new Mercedes-Benz Stadium on Saturday.
But it's, from what we've been told, an extremely loud place. So crowd noise will always be a factor when you play indoors. I don't think that the crowd noise there had an impact on the timing or any plays. Jake did a good job handling that. Their defense had a lot to do with the struggles that we had because they got a really good defensive front.
Some would say coach talk, but a lot of players agree it's the other team, not the noise.
All right, we're just a couple of days away, and of course, big games tomorrow, as we mentioned as well.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you back here at 11. 121212. Just hang up. This is a scam.
Calls on our regular phone. As soon as I hear it's a recording, I just hang up.
Just hang up. This is a scam. Just hang up. This is a scam.
Scammers are targeting electric utility customers again at both home and the workplace. A warning on what to look out for this time.
And I'll let you know when the Ring will get out of here and what to expect this weekend. We'll see you after the game.
Scammers target electric power board customers at, I'm sorry, I messed up, too many words.